Buses, while being the backbone of public transport in India, are woefully inadequate. There are around 20 lakh buses in India, of which about 50,000 or thereabouts operate in cities, and predominantly by public bus authorities. Our goal today is to provide a holistic approach to gender equitable and equal public transport systems. At least to my limited knowledge, this is perhaps the first consultation of its kind focusing on public bus transport systems.
I think it's a privilege for me to join this very important workshop to advance a policy framework for gender equality in public bus transport. Today's deliberations, I think it's both timely and also very essential as we seek to center gender in transport policy backed by empirical evidence, lived experience and tested practice.
Thank you, Sonal, for leading these discussions, because I've seen for the last 15 years at least you've been consistent in doing what you're doing, and that is that's beyond work. I think this is called passion.
What we must understand is that the transport data counts trips, vehicles and ridership, not experience, safety, dignity or access. When commuters' behavior is not gender and disability desegregated, planning invisibilizes women's journey.
Your framework was like music to my ears. It also talks a lot about collecting data digitally.
What about the non-users? What about the people who are not traveling? This kind of latent demand which is there but has never been realized will never be captured if we continue to just rely on the existing bus users.
Session 2 focuses on changing social norms, creating safer commutes in public bus transport systems.
If you have to look at lack of bystander intervention, why would people not intervene? It's also about how the entire picture is framed, how the problem is framed. If it is framed as a problem between two individuals, a private problem, and I as a bystander feel that I do not have any stakes in that problem, then I would not intervene. That's where the role of social behavior change comes in, that how do you reframe that problem, that it is not a problem between two people, it is a problem between the entire community and one individual who is violating that space.
What do we do with that data and understanding? How can we roll it out in the form of perhaps campaigns, as we give examples internationally, that serve as reminders of while you are in the space of what is respectful behavior, what are do's and don'ts, could be helpful.
Congratulating the entire Urban Catalyst team. I've read the document with very great interest. It's so nuanced and thorough.
First of all, congratulations for such a fabulous work that you have done, and we have been following the work of Urban Catalyst. Gendered segregation kind of norms have to be challenged systematically, and if you don't do that, I think it's very difficult to attract women into public transport.
When you're pitching a job, if you pitch a job with a job and with a housing and transportation together, more women will be wanting to join the workforce. If you give them only jobs, they don't have a house, they don't have transportation, they will most likely not join.
I feel like a lot of work, and all of us have done a lot of work in hiring of women and trying to bring more of them into the workforce. I think there's a lot more to be done to retain them.
Wonderful framework. I read through that. It's a very good, very well thought through document. So kudos to the team for that.
So there's a lot spoken about having this cell, either a gender cell or a gender focal point. What we find in many cases missing is what is the role of this this particular cell or the focal point, right? It has to be a cross section of their influence.
Second thing, I think what also becomes very important is
What do you not do? Because I think then utilizing budget and how you utilize it becomes a part of that audit. What did you do with the budget? Did you just create a few women's seats, or did you actually invest in promoting women to become active users, but also active investors in this sector?
One key takeaway is how we need to sort of understand or embed gender considerations in an integrated way.
Today's session has been a reminder about just the sheer number of stakeholders that go into making transport planning more gender sensitive and more equitable. And kudos to Urban Catalyst for bringing the right people in the room.